Welcome, this is Cheap Shot News. My name is Zach. This is where you come to get all the updated news on Deadpool and other such movies in Hollywood. I mostly mention Deadpool because we're going to talk about Deadpool like we do always. Like we do always, yeah, like we do every week. But before we get to that, I got a couple other things I want to talk about. So there's this new movie coming out this summer called Baby Driver. You may have heard of it. A trailer was recently released this week. Super excited about that, and I'll tell you why. Apparently other people are too, and I'll get into that as well. So it's a movie by Edgar Wright. Thumbs up there. And then it's basically getting bumped up a couple of months. So you might think, oh, a couple of months, not a big deal. Well, if it was coming out next year, you maybe think, oh, not a big deal. But it is coming out this summer. It's getting bumped up from August to June, and it's getting put right at the end of June. So prime 4th of July real estate right there for a movie. So a lot of people must be excited about this. Well, apparently they are. Like I mentioned, the trailer was recently released a couple weeks ago at South by Southwest. It's a movie thing. I'm not even 100% sure what they do there. But anyways, it gained a lot of popularity, and the studio decided, you know what? We like it. The fans seem to like it. Let's move it into some prime placement so other people can like it as well. I'm super excited. If you're not familiar with the story, it's basically this kid who is the best of the best getaway drivers, and he gets caught up in some shady situations, and he tries to get out, and of course he can't get out because it's the crime world. You never leave. So he falls in love, tries to get out. He's brought back in, criminals, etc. It just looks awesome. If you haven't seen the trailer, if you're watching this on YouTube, the trailer's linked below. Otherwise, just YouTube Baby Driver, but maybe do that after we're done here so you can listen to me the entire time. Also, like I was saying, in regards to stars in the movie, different things like that, the main character is Ansel Elgort. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Younger guy, was potentially going to be Han Solo. That didn't work out, but he's doing this now. Other big names, Lily James. You've seen her in things like Cinderella and Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Also, Jamie Foxx, because of course, Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, and John Bernthal. So, good cast of characters, but mostly Edgar Wright is writing and directing. If you're not familiar with him, you should become familiar with him immediately. He's done things like Hot Fuzz, awesome. Scott Pilgrim, awesome. And I think he also did Shaun of the Dead. So, and at World's End, or The World's End, whichever the third one in that series was. No, Drew, I don't know what South by Southwest is. I know it's a movie thing. I don't pay close attention. I know they release a lot of trailers and stuff. Thanks for coming in, though. Anyways, moving on. I was recently notified today by a former roommate, Mike Gibson. He also helped me produce a couple weeks back, that the new Venom movie is not going to be connected to the MCU or Spider-Man Homecoming. And what the hell? I am confused by this, very much so. So if anyone could tell me why in the world they would do that, I would be very interested in hearing about it, because I have no idea why Sony or anyone else would do something like that. The only thing I can think of is that they're trying to keep, it's a rights thing, that, you know, Marvel holds the rights to Spider-Man at least partially now, and then Sony still holds the rights to a lot of Spider-Man characters that aren't Spider-Man. So they're trying to build this kind of superhero overall universe again, but without the main character that all these characters are based around, being Spider-Man, one of the more marketable superheroes at the moment. So I'm really confused by this. Apparently as well, it comes out news that not only are they doing a Venom movie, they're doing Black Cat and Silver Sable like spinoff. But again, all of these characters are surrounded by, or they're surrounding Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man's the main center point of all these characters. So it doesn't make sense to me at all why they would do this. If somebody wants to chime in and talk about why they would ever do a Venom movie, one of the better Spider-Man villains, probably the best Spider-Man villain, without Spider-Man, I'm confused. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. You're still gonna get my money, so screw you, Sony, and everything about this situation that you're still gonna take money out of my pocket for. But whatever, moving on, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. My movie world is crumbling around me. Anyways, after that depressing state, now to the Deadpool news. And it's okay. I mean, Michael Shannon is now the guy who's apparently going to be Cable. And that's pretty much all I got for you. Yeah. I like David Harbour better. I do. I'm just depressing myself this week. Who do you like better? Who are you guys interested in? Yeah, Michael Shannon, yeah, he's okay. He's been in a few different movies and different things like that. Just, he seems like that kind of guy that's always in the background, or always kind of a side character. You recognize his face, but you can't really place him. So I'll post a picture probably here when I do my YouTube video, but for you people on Facebook, you can go to IMDb. He's probably most recognizable as General Zod in the Man of Steel movie, but I don't know. I'm actually kind of getting sick of talking about Deadpool every week. Not so much like sick of that specifically, just freaking cast Cable already so I can stop talking about it. And shut up, Soup. Mostly because I know you're complaining that I'm talking about Deadpool. All right. So on to some topics that I actually got requested today. The first one is requested by my old friend Boston Thompson. We grew up together. I don't think you're watching it right now, man, but hopefully you watch this later so you can appreciate that I did this work for you. So he wants me to talk about Sicario. I'm like, Sicario's a couple years old, man. That's a good movie, but don't really know what I can talk about it. And he said, Sicario 2 potentially. And I had never heard of a Sicario 2, that they were even going to do it or anything like that. And I even Googled Sicario 2. I didn't find much about it. There was some speculation back like last year sometime, but I didn't find much. Well, the problem is I was looking in the wrong spot. So there is a sequel for Sicario. It's called Soldado, meaning soldier in Spanish. My Spanish isn't great. You guys know I don't speak Spanish, so I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Great movie, Sicario. If you're not familiar, it's basically around an FBI agent and the war on drugs between the border and Mexico, and kind of the tactics involved in that war on drugs and the moral ambiguity that lies within those tactics. Extremely good movie. Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt. Big fan of all of those three people. Just really well done movie. Really well written. One of my new up and coming favorite directors, Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival and is going to be, or has currently doing Blade Runner, directed that movie. I very much suggest it. Now, so what's coming out supposedly later this year, but we don't have a release date specifically. It could be later this year, early next year, is that Soldado is going to basically take this idea of a war on drugs and take it a little step further. So one of the actors, Jeffrey Donovan, who was in the first one, he's also in Burn Notice, if you ever saw that. He's the main character. He commented last year in November that this movie is going to be more on like an intentional forcing of a war on drugs. Well, a few of the characters go into Mexico and try to spawn an intentional war between two cartel leaders. So that sounds awesome. You can probably expect a little more blood, guts, and awesomeness. Benicio del Toro maybe not killing as many children in this one. But either way, I'm excited. So Jeffrey Donovan's obviously going to be in it, but also returning is Benicio del Toro as Alejandro, and then Josh Brolin, I can't remember what his character's name is. So, Emily Blunt is not returning. The interesting thing about this movie is they have plainly stated that it's not really a sequel or a prequel because we don't know when this movie takes place. The great thing about the first movie, it was so character based that we really didn't get ideas of like outside of where it was located, like when it was located or what's happening in the future past to develop into this. So it's very character based, and it's going to continue to be that way. So they're not going to, from what it sounds like, they're not ever really going to say whether or not it came before or after Sicario. Either way, I'm super excited about it. Soup and roommate David, you will be happy to know that Taylor Sheridan wrote this movie. He was the guy who wrote the original, and he recently wrote Hell or High Water. Incredible movie. So get excited for that. And Boston, if you haven't seen Hell or High Water, I think you'd really like that movie. So check it out. So another suggestion topic I'll get to is Soup, good friend, and sort of colleague in regards to Cheap Shot News. We need to get together and do another video. Anyways, he wants me to talk about Justice League. I'd be happy to talk about Justice League, specifically because we got a trailer recently, the second trailer. So some talking points. I'm going to break this down into two different sections: excited and concerned. So, what am I excited for in the Justice League movie to come? The look of the movie looks great. Based on the trailers, I've never doubted Zack Snyder's stylistic ability when it comes to visuals. They've always had this dark beauty to them. You know, Watchmen 300, Sucker Punch, even Batman vs. Superman. All very stylistically and visually appealing in that regard. So regardless of what you think of him as an actual director and his vision, I think stylistically he is on point. Concerned about the story. Visuals were awesome. Story sucked in Batman vs. Superman. And we can get into the specifics about whether or not how horrible Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad or just any of the DC movies really were. There's a lot of torn people on that. I think generally speaking, we all agree they weren't the best, but they're not horrible. I didn't hate Batman vs. Superman. It had some nice intricacies to it. It had some good parts, specifically Ben Affleck. And anyone who says otherwise is an idiot of epic proportions. Ben Affleck was the best part of that movie, hands down. If you think Henry Cavill was better than Ben Affleck, you come see me personally and stuff will happen. I don't know specifically what. So, moving on after that short little rant, my blood pressure is slightly down now. So that's excited, concerned, was excited, concerned. Now I'm off track. So, my next excited is Aquaman. I don't know much about Aquaman or Arthur Curry, his real human name, whoever calls him that, geez. But that being said, Jason Momoa looks awesome. He always looks awesome. I don't know if that guy, he could be wearing a skirt, and I still think he'd look badass. Like, dude, you're rocking that skirt. I'm not talking about like a kilt, like a poofy skirt. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, looks awesome. I like the humor in the movie, a little bit of him coming into that humor of like, this guy's legit, this guy's cool. He just seems like a cool dude you'd like to have a beer with. That's Arthur Curry. So, I mean, I touched on it a little bit. This wasn't actually something I wrote down, but I'll mix it in here. Another thing that I'm excited about is kind of the humor that they've taken with this, at least based on what they've shown. It seems like it's a good humor for the tone of the movie. Like when Batman says, or the Flash asks Bruce Wayne, names are spacing on me right now. Like, what's your superpower? And he says, I'm rich. Like, that's funny. That works well within the tone of the movie. It doesn't seem forced because it's kind of just true. I mean, he obviously worked hard to get to the physical specimen that he is, but if he wasn't rich, it wouldn't really matter that much. He would have been shot a long time ago and killed. So, that's another excitement. Concern. Music. That was a big sticking point for me in both Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad for different reasons. Batman vs. Superman, the music seemed very heavy-handed, and it didn't seem to fit the tone a good chunk of the time. So specifically when Wonder Woman came in, it's just like this overbearing, loud metal type of music. And I like metal as much as anybody, but it just did not seem to fit. Suicide Squad was a little different. They seemed to really, really want to have like the best soundtrack ever made. And it seemed just way too obvious to me that that's what they were attempting to do. It just didn't work out great. So when the trailer comes out and I was like, cool, there's this music, but it does make me concerned that we have like a cover of a Beatles song come together and other different things that are very present in the trailer. That concerns me a little bit. So excited. The new character development, obviously I talked about Aquaman, but also we're going to see more of Wonder Woman. We'll see her more over the summer actually in her own movie, so that character should be plenty developed by this time. But we're also getting more of the Flash. We're going to see more of Cyborg. That should be really cool as well to kind of continue to grow on this base. And then have them actually branch off and do their own movies then. So it's the opposite of what Marvel did. A lot of these characters we're going to see come to life in a conjoined movie and then branch out into their own. I don't know if that's going to be better or worse. So far, I would say it's been worse, but I don't think that innately is the issue. I just think poor movies in general is the issue. So, concerned. Storyline. I feel like we've talked about this before. I'm concerned about the story. Zack Snyder, you're a good director when it comes to visuals, but your stories are typically convoluted and crazy and all over the place. Lock that crap down, man. I'm concerned about the story. Moving on. Both, this is a hybrid, and this is what I'll wrap up with, is the villain. We've got 2 trailers now. One trailer came out a really long time ago, and now we got the new one like a few days ago, and we haven't seen a villain yet. We've seen minions, lots of minions, crazy amounts of villain minions, but we haven't seen a villain yet. That could be a big reveal. It would not surprise me in the very least if we don't actually see the villain until the end of the movie. And potential spoilers here, maybe we see Superman come back at the end of the movie. Craziness ensues. So, that very well could be. But because I haven't seen him yet, this is kind of an up in the air situation, wait and see, of excitement, but hesitation. Not so much concern, more as hesitation. So, that actually wasn't one of my longer videos, but that is pretty much gonna wrap it up. Again, I am Zach. This is Cheap Shot News. If you're watching me on the YouTubes, please like and subscribe if you're at all interested in what you're seeing here. Thank you, everyone, for checking me out on the Facebook. Everyone watching. I should point to my camera, not to my computer. Computer. Thank you guys for watching. I very much appreciate it. Again, you can follow me. I do this every week live, Tuesdays at 7:30. 15 to 20 minutes. Try to get that in. Really like that you guys come out and see me, though. I appreciate it. Let me know if there's any other topics you want me to talk about. I really actually enjoyed going into some details and researching some things that people requested of me. So that was fun. So let me know. You can message me or just shoot me a message on Facebook or get back to me sometime next week. Appreciate you guys. You have a great week. Bye.